Think.
Okay.
Well, hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of the T&T Podcast. As always, it's your boy Tyler Layfield, joined by my co-host Torres Finney. How's it going, Torres?
What's going on, Tyler? Happy to be here once again, brother. What's going on?
Man, chilling. We got snow here in Georgia. You might be getting you some down there in Florida, where you're at. We're gonna see. It's been fun. I've been off all week, so and I get another day off tomorrow. So a man can't complain.
Hey, you're right, man. It was funny. I saw your thing on Facebook when Houston County had let out. I think Houston County is funny.
The whole schools,
The
yeah.
whole school, yeah. And it said Kobe. Oh man, that was funny. But yeah, I definitely been seeing it snow. I was like, thank the Lord. I just missed it when I got onto my plane. I was coming from Orlando, Florida, training here at Fusion XL. Really good guys. And man, to come here, I'm like, okay, I'm missing it. Only to see, freak, it's raining in different parts of Florida, and it could be coming near Orlando. Oh, man.
Could be.
Snow. So, I'm not a snow guy. I don't know about everybody else, but I'm not a snow guy. I don't like it. I've been a part of it a lot. I just don't care. I've been a part of it even when I would train in Denver. It's just not my world, man. It's not my world.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm okay with it. I mean, it's fun, especially, I don't know if you're, I mean, we don't got no kids over here right now, but I mean, when you get kids, I feel like they just eat it up. They just freaking love it. So fun being around
Literally
kids
eat it up.
when that goes. Yeah, literally eat it. But it's fun. Yesterday we got out, walked in did a little snowman, threw some snowballs, kind of stuff. So I mean, we got it there a little bit because you don't get it often, So when you do, take advantage of it. So or at least where we're from. So
yeah, when you're in the South,
man,
when you're in the South,
South. Yeah, and it's crazy the way this one blew in. It's like the more south you went, the more snow there was, and normally it's flip flops. So that was pretty neat this time around how that played out. But
it was funny. Yeah. I heard somebody say this, like, dude, we have snow in the South, and we over here got like wildfires in Los Angeles. Like, what the heck is going on?
The end times.
Yeah. Oh man,
crazy conditions. So, so I guess let's just hop into it, man. We had the national championship Monday evening. I did watch it. I was able to catch every bit of it, and maybe outside of like a minute or two in the second half. But
you didn't catch all of it. No, you didn't.
Yeah. Because the second half, that first minute or two of it, because we went and watched Pop Culture Jeopardy during halftime. I wasn't studying Travis Scott. I really wasn't. I'm all right with him, but.
That's what I did that.
So all right. So this wouldn't typically be the first thing we talk about with a national championship, but I remember you said it in the group chat, the Travis Scott thing. Was it really that bad?
It was absolutely positively awful. I mean, we were all like, everybody was sitting at the table because we went to a bar and everyone was like just waiting on it. So like, a lot of pop guys here was like excited for it. We're sitting there looking like, is he on top of the stadium? There's no people. It's him up there by himself, just jiving around, singing.
I wouldn't want to do that.
And boom, that was it. And I were like,
how many songs did he sing?
One.
And it was a new song that nobody's heard before, isn't it?
Nobody never heard before. That was pre-recorded the night before on top of Mercedes-Benz.
And that's lame. That's lame.
What is this?
Glad we skipped that. Yeah, I saw where they were like, his new song is coming out. Like, so I was like, I don't know. I thought it would be like a mix of some songs. Maybe he plays Goosebumps or Butterfly Effect or something. I don't know. Maybe he does something like that, and then but I guess it was just that one song and done.
Happily you missed it. That's right. Happily you missed it.
Yeah. So takeaways from it. It looked like it was going to get away pretty early from Notre Dame. Well, actually, no. Notre Dame actually came out. If you recall, they looked really good that first drive.
Yes, they did.
How much clock did they eat that first drive? It was
9 minutes and 45
9 minutes. Wow. Yeah, and it was very methodical, very just working their way down. A lot of runs. We were talking about that in the group chat. It was very run centric that first drive, and
Mm-hmm.
sure enough, that QB draw was working pretty well at least early on, and yeah, it did go. It did get a little less effective as the night wore on, but the things that were going through my head watching it. Okay, yeah, they're doing really good, but he's gonna like this dude's gonna get tore up before the night's over with. Riley Leonard. I just knew the way they were running him, man, he's gonna be feeling it tomorrow. But
Facts.
they started off well. Ohio State came back out throwing haymakers. And what was it at halftime? What was the score?
The score at halftime was it was 21-7.
21-7. So it looked like it was gonna get pretty bad. Then I think yeah.
Well,
Then Ohio State went up.
it did continue to get bad. They went up
Yeah,
31-7. Yeah.
31-7. And then there was a pretty good little comeback in the mix there for Notre Dame. Ohio State started taking their foot off the gas. Reminded me a bit of what we talk about with Texas. Like it's just like they can get up and then they just, I don't know, it's
Lull.
just like they go through a lull, they take that foot off and things start going the opposite direction. So, yeah, that was, it was pretty, it ended up being entertaining. It wasn't a total blowout, but you mentioned it in the group chat as well, and I even sent you a thing that ESPN talked about. But most of these national championships, just like you say, they end up being blowouts for the most part. But this
I've
one
been
ended up
preaching this
being what did the final score end up being? I can't remember.
34-23. So that
34-23.
it shows since that 26-23 overtime game, that was the last time we've seen a national championship be one possession. Now, let's be honest. Yes, that is true. But even though I mean, you could say this national championship, it got excited, it got close at the end, but it really wasn't close.
Mm-hmm.
But that's no different than when that's like saying, oh well, it got close at the end. That's saying the Clemson and LSU game in 2019 was close a little bit, and then LSU just shot out. Oh, that was a close game. Not necessarily. It had a lot of good stars in it, but it necessarily wasn't close. Um, and I wouldn't necessarily, you could say that, but like I said, facts without context are irrelevant. If we all remember the
Mm-hmm.
Georgia versus Alabama
Yeah, that's what I'm sitting here
national
thinking of.
championship,
Oh,
that was when Georgia won, and they had it was close. That was a close game all the way through. The pick six came in on the final drive, like the second to
yeah,
last.
very
So
late.
that was a close game. But majority of these national championships are not close. And I've been preaching this for the longest. That's why when people used to get mad at all these playoff games, I was saying, well, let's go back in history. Bro, a lot of these games aren't usually close anyway in college. I say, y'all remember the big moments. Y'all remember the big games. Yes, there have been a few close games. But in the majority, they're not close. This is not like the NFL where like majority of the Super Bowls are close. Like this is not the same. Like majority of these games, they're blowouts, man. They're blowouts. And I've caught on to that pretty early. Like I was like, man, why do we just both national championships been blowouts? And when I went back and just looked at the numbers, I was like, well, that's just how it usually goes for some reason. I think you just really see a talent disparity most of the times once you get to these games. It's like one team is that much better than the other, and there's no question about it. As we said about Ohio State throughout the year, they had the best talent. We felt like going into the season. This
Yeah.
was my team to make it to the national championship. I never picked them to win it starting off the season. I had them versus Georgia, but obviously Georgia didn't get their job done. But
No.
this team, as at the beginning of the season, as I was saying, they're the most talented team, you know. And I feel like their only flaw would have been at quarterback, which throughout the playoffs, hey man, he shut all that down.
Yeah,
That
he
man did not
did.
throw a
Will Howard
single
looked good.
interception in the playoffs. A single interception in the playoffs.
Some
He
dimes
looked
too. Some tight
phenomenal.
window throws
Great throws.
within the plays too. Yeah.
Great throws. Great throws. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm really excited to see how they continue to keep going. But Ohio State looks phenomenal. Ohio State looked phenomenal. And Notre Dame, look, credit to Notre Dame for how hard they fought. Notre Dame's a really good football team, and I keep saying that a lot to a lot of people. They're a good football team. I just didn't think they had enough talent to eventually
Yeah,
overcome Ohio State. But this was a great season for them, man. This is not.
it was.
Certain people be like, "Oh, we lost that championship." No, this was a great season for Notre Dame. Notre Dame is in that realm of if they made the national championship, and especially the way they competed with Marcus Freeman. How long he's been there? What, 2 years, 2 or 3 years at least? He already got his team in the Natty. That's really good. Through the 12-team playoff, I know some people might not like how they went through it, but heck, they played the top teams. They played Team Georgia. They played Penn State. Those guys did their job. Notre Dame's a good football team, and I'm excited to see how they continue to keep it going, especially all the money that they made.
Yeah, they crazy how much money they made. Yeah, he has been the head coach there from 2021 to now.
Okay, so
So
that's
there you
4
go.
years.
This is 4 years. Yeah, doesn't feel like it though, does it?
Don't feel like it at all. No, it does not.
So looking at these two teams, I'm looking at Notre Dame now, and I'll look at Ohio State next. But just looking at since we're right here at it, just looking ahead to next year, Notre Dame's of course they're gonna. I mean, I think they're gonna end up losing Riley Leonard. I mean, I don't know if it gets much better than this for him. I mean, making it to a national championship. The tight end Mitchell Evans, I think they're going to lose him. He's a senior. Riley Leonard is a senior transferred in. Bo Collins might be dipping. He's a senior, but given he really didn't have a crazy year, if you recall, he transferred from Clemson.
I remember him.
They're pretty young on the offensive line right now. They got a lot of freshmen and sophomores there. Great House, the guy that kept making freaking play after play in the national championship, and he actually did it. He actually made a couple plays in the semifinals too. He's a sophomore as well as Faison. They had two guys enter the portal today. Did you see that?
I did not see that. For who? What position?
Deion Colsey, a wide receiver, and Jaden Thomas, a wide receiver.
Oh.
So two wide receivers.
No, they shouldn't be losing wide receivers right now. To be honest with you, it's not like that. A good little bit. They need as much help they can possibly get.
Seriously. Yeah, that was kind of strange. Jeremiah Love will be back, so that's good for them. Probably Jadarian Price as well, so they'll have that 1-2 punch next year. You're looking at the defensive side of the ball. Now they were pretty veteran heavy on that side. A lot of grads, a lot of graduates already on that side. So they were pretty old on that side of things. So I don't know how much they're going to be returning on that side. Then you look at Ohio State. So of course Jeremiah Smith's going to be back. They're going to be losing Egbuka. He's played himself, I think, to a higher draft pick. He had a pretty good back-to-back games. I thought he played really well, especially in that semifinal, at least early on. Supposedly Carnell Tate will be back, but that's not set in stone. There's rumors about him possibly want to enter in the transfer portal. He made a catch or two in the national championship, but they, one thing about Ohio State, they're not going to worry about wide receivers, right? With how many they bring in.
Wide receiver university, man.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah, they keep it stacked. Now on the offensive line, I see a lot of juniors, redshirt juniors, grad transfers. They're very veteran heavy there as well, similar to Notre Dame's defensive line, and so you're probably going to lose some there. This is like one of those cases. I feel like you catch lightning in a bottle. Of course, you were already it's always good, especially people that pay attention to sports, especially in college sports. We see it in basketball every year, and we're starting to see it more. These teams that don't just rely on one and dones, like Coach Cal used to do at Kentucky. These teams that have older guys, the guys that have been playing a while. It makes a difference a lot. Like if you're in high school, and you have a lot, if you're very heavy juniors, seniors, that's going to be your year, or at least that's supposed to be, right? Normally you don't see the young teams making the splashes, but I think Ohio State really caught it. They really took advantage of, what they had on the roster already. They were already, older, a lot more veterans. Then they go and get Will Howard. They go and get Quinshon Judkins. They go and get Caleb Downs. So they are going to be losing quite a bit. We're going to see what they do, to bring that in, because I'm sitting here looking at the defensive line. Senior, junior, a linebacker, graduate right here at middle linebacker.
They got a lot.
Senior at left corner, senior at strong safety, junior at right corner. Senior at nickelback. Like it is very, very. So you're going to see a complete overhaul on that defensive side, and then also on the offensive line. So we're going to have to see how Ohio State comes back after this. Fully anticipate them to go and add some guys in the spring portal window. There's going to be some people for them to add as well, but we'll see. I think they had a guy or two enter the portal as well, but I think it's just lower level guys. It's nobody real huge. At least not names that I've recognized. So I'm not really too worried about that side of things. But mainly the opponent for them is going to be the draft. Losing so many guys to the draft,
That's a
which
yes.
it's a good problem to have, though. You're sending all these guys like they have a chance. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and they may have a chance to break. Just looking at it, they may have a chance to break that Georgia record where they had
In the first
the
round?
most. Not the first round. They could. They could, but I wouldn't bet on that. But overall, how many was it that Georgia had?
Well, I thought didn't they have about
Wasn't
like
it 13 in that one draft or something like
Yeah.
that? UGA draft picks.
I thought it was more
I
than
think it was
that.
2023.
Yeah. The 20 yeah.
Record
was it-
from.
Was it 2023 or the 2022?
I'm looking now. Drafted from one school in a year.
Yeah. I remember,
Let's see what they say.
that because I was like, man, that's a lot. And it's going to be, which we're going to get eventually, the Eagles.
2022.
That's what
And
I
it was
thought
15 players. 15 players. Right now, I'm just going to tell you right now. So let's look at some names and let's see if we can add this up to get to that to 15.
15.
Egbuka is going to get drafted.
Yeah, no question.
Okay. If McLaughlin, the center, the one that transferred from Alabama
He's
that was
good.
having the yips, yeah, he played really well. He was the Remington Award winner at center. The guy's going to get drafted if he goes.
Look
Will
what happened.
Howard.
Look, hey, we've seen two guys leave Alabama go win a national championship somewhere else.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. Judkins and Henderson, they're going to both get drafted. Those two running backs, because I think this is a lower level running back class.
Not
I feel
that
like.
stacked. Yeah, about to
No,
say it's not
yeah,
that
they're going to get some guys drafted. I don't know much about the rest of the offensive linemen, but you got juniors, redshirt juniors, senior here. I'm betting at least two of those out of the other four outside of McLaughlin get drafted. So we're up to 6.
Mm-hmm.
Jack Sawyer, the one that had that scoop and score in the semifinal, he's going to get drafted. I can't remember how to say this guy's name, but that edge rusher, that's Tuamoloau or what a Palomalu looking, kind of guy. He's going to get drafted. Tyleek Williams probably drafted.
Okay.
Ty Hamilton possibly drafted. He's the nose tackle. Denzel Burke, he's going to get drafted. I've heard that name for quite some time. So right now that's 11, and they could add to it, man. That really could. They could be threatening for that record. I don't think that's crazy to say, right?
Gee, that's a lot, man. That's a lot from one school. That shows you just how good that team really is. Let alone with the guys that's not coming out yet. Obviously, the Jeremiah Smith, the Caleb Downs. Without those guys coming out yet, that just shows you how good that team really is, man.
Stacked
all around. The inevitable. The inevitable. Yeah.
Yeah, teams that can take advantage of those windows. We talk about it all the time, but when you have those windows of those players that are currently on your team, you have all that talent, and then you go and add to it. The rich get richer in a sense in the transfer portal. It's just success is going to follow. So, any last things you got here about the national championship? Is there anything you really noticed you wanted to talk about? Anything in particular?
No, man, I'm just really excited for a coach like Ron Day, man. Ron Day finally got the monkey off his back. He showed that he is amongst the elite coach. And it's great to have another elite coach, which I always thought he was anyway. I'd argue with a friend earlier this year about, Ron Day. And he's like, Ron Day deserved to be fired with this type of team, the talent. And at the beginning, this was before they played Michigan. I wasn't on that train. And I finally conceded. I was like, yeah, bro. If he don't win the Natty, I think he'll be on the hot seat. Now, it would be crazy to even fire him had they not won it when you think about like his record overall at that school. But, with the type of talent that brothers don't have, man, you can't keep losing Michigan, and you got to finally get a way to get the job, which they have. They finally got the job done. So, congrats to Ron Day. I think there's only been 2 schools to win the national championship since with 3 different head coaches. I said since the 20th century. Since the start of the 20th century. I think one is LSU. They had Nick Saban, Edward, and Lincoln Miles, and the other Ohio State with Jim Tressel, Urban Meyer. Shows you, as I've said before, talent can help a lot of guys look really good, more than just the coach. So
Yeah,
don't be fooled. Yes, you need great coaches. You gotta have big players. You gotta have forces that can make a
Yeah, you're right about that. So we'll move this thing on to NFL playoffs. So let's recap these games from this past week. Which one you want to start off with?
Let's start with them in order. The first one was the Chiefs and the Texans.
Start it up.
Chiefs and Texans, man. What a phenomenal what a phenomenal play by the Texans, but really, what a phenomenal play by the Chiefs defense. I would say the fact that the Texans were able to keep it close as I thought it, closer than what I thought they would keep it, especially defensively, really good. But it just showed you throughout the year the Chiefs offense hasn't been really that good. But the Chiefs defense, oh my goodness, they had 8 sacks. I think they forced, I don't know how many. No, I don't think they forced any turnovers, but 8 sacks. Defense played lights out. I think they only stopped. Hey, Houston actually didn't play that bad overall. Houston, CJ Stroud threw for 19 for 28, for 245 yards. They rushed as a team for 149 yards, so that's not bad. And then, there was no turnover. So, I credit the Chiefs, man. The Chiefs look good defensively, as I think that's one of the things we'll have to lean on throughout these playoffs. It's like their defense until that offense continue to get going. And you got to remember, I tell people those buys. Heck, the Chiefs haven't played their starters in 3 weeks, let alone 2 weeks. People keep looking at, oh man, they didn't play week 17, so they skipped a whole another week. So now they're coming back to finally play and get in sync with the guys that's been injured. It took them some time, but what a way to be able to take yourself some time with playing at home. Now, since you got yourself in sync, then you're playing at home once again in the AFC Championship game, which is Mahomes' home, a place where he's never not played in his entire career. I think that's going to be a huge dividends. But props to him, and also Travis Kelce. Travis Kelce, he don't usually have the great regular seasons, since he's been on the older end. But every time it has hit the playoffs, oh my gosh, the brother has shown out. 7 catches for 117 yards, 1 touchdown. Expect him to show out again against Buffalo next week. I like these Chiefs, and they've been my Super Bowl pick. As funny enough, the last 2 years, I know people say, "Oh, that's not a hard take," but you're right, it's not. When you see something and you see how great something is, don't be stupid and bet against it. Like some of my friends or cousins are. They want to keep betting against Mahomes. It's like, okay, you keep doing that. I say, if y'all want to make these bets, why not just give me the money?
For real. Yeah, make it with me. Make the bet with me so I can get the money.
Right.
Jeez. Oh, crazy. Yeah, good season for the Texans. Just, you ran into the Chiefs, right? That's really what it kind of comes down to. The Chiefs, they're just, I don't know, man. Like you said, it's hard to bet against them. The defense played really well for the Chiefs. The offense just seems to do what it needs to do to get things done, and they always kind of find a way. So, like as a good team does, as good coaches do, they find ways to win. There's nothing for me to go crazy about, with this. We'll get into them a little bit more, I guess, when we make our prediction here for their conference championship game coming up. But the one I'm more excited about is the next one. You know me. I've been on that Jane Daniels hype train, baby.
You were, man.
Commanders and Lions, and I didn't think they were gonna win this.
Did you pick those?
I don't know if we made the pick of, I picked them to beat the Buccaneers, but I don't think we made picks on this game. Which I'm pretty sure I would have picked Lions. Like I was thinking Lions going into it. I think most people were, right. That just felt, even with all the injuries, it just, they've been such a good team, such a well coached team, and it's showing right now. I mean, they just lost their defensive coordinator. He's going to be the Jets' new head coach, Aaron Glenn. Their defensive line coach is now going to be the defensive coordinator for the Patriots. The offensive coordinator, he's going to be the head coach of the Bears, and the thing about it is, and it sucks, I hate it for Dan Campbell, but it's just the nature of the beast. That's why you bring in good coordinators so that they can do so well that they go and get head coaching jobs. But the bad thing is now they're going to take some of your position coaches and, bring them with them to it's been a good season for the Lions, and Man, the Commanders just played a heck of a game, bro. And
Mhm.
they played aggressive, went for it on fourth down like they've been doing. They were converting it. Jane Daniels is playing composed and smart, and he's just making the plays he does. And, the rest of the players, I feel like everybody just follows. Like when you have a leader like that, people just pick up and follow. Like wide receivers, outside of McLaurin, what big name wide receiver do they have? I mean, of course you got Ertz, but Ertz ain't what he used to be.
No, Ursh
You
not
got
what he used to be.
Diami Brown, Olamad Zacchaeus, Jamison Crowder, who's been in the league for like 15, 20 years. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know, man. They're just
Chauncey,
making
running
things.
back, Austin Eckler.
Yeah, Eckler. You got McNichols. You got Robinson. I don't know. They just find a way, and that's like I just talked about with the Chiefs. That's what good teams do, and they put up points. Of course, they did get scored on, which was bound to happen with that offense. Lions do have a great offense, great receiver weapons, great running backs. It was going to happen at some point. You weren't going to shut out the Lions by any stretch, but they did make some questionable calls. I don't know what you thought about the Jamison Williams, like wide receiver throw or pass that he made. They
That
threw an
was
interception.
pretty bad. That was pretty bad. Yeah.
They at some point you got to teach these guys. Like I just never have. I've never thought like every time they do it, I just always think to myself, why don't they tell them you can throw it away just like the quarterback does? Or is there like a rule against that? Is there a rule against that?
No, it's not a rule against
I don't think
that.
so. I don't know
And
why they force it. They
trying to
force it
fool-
every time.
You got to remember, whenever you giving somebody an opportunity to do something that they would never have an accustomed ability to do, they're going to do everything they can to throw that football. Them boys are not going to pass up on the opportunity to throw the football. It's
Yeah.
just not going to happen. So that's why every time you see that play, it's either big play or really bad
awful.
play. Yeah, like
Yeah.
there's
No in between.
Yeah, there's
No
never
in
in between. So
Uh-huh.
again, look, I was surprised. I did predict a high scoring game. Again, me and Andrew, we've been going back and forth throughout these playoffs and actually college football season. He loved betting, but
Who did he like in this one?
he liked the Lions, and so did
Hmm.
I. But I think the Lions were a -8.5, and I told him take the Commanders on the spread. He called me crazy. He said he does not see how that Commanders defense could do anything against that Lions offense. And I said that is true. But with all the injuries that are on the Detroit Lions, I don't see what they're going to be able to do against the Commanders offense either.
Mm-hmm.
And as we saw that first half, it was really, really high scoring, and everything changed when that pick six happened by Jared Goff, which allowed the Commanders eventually to start to go up double digits. And I was like, uh-oh, Andrew. Now, I did not think the Commanders were going to win this game, especially dropping 35. Like I told him, I said, I could see like a 36-33 type game, or 30-30, 33-30, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
I never once thought the Commanders really was just going to outscore them or outplay them. But the 3 turnovers by Jared Goff. And people have to remember, as we're going to get to with Baltimore and Buffalo, turnovers, even if you just have 1 turnover, that's enough to change the whole game.
Yeah.
I'll never forget when people watched, it was years ago when the Eagles played the Chiefs in the Super Bowl. The score was 38-35. And everybody's like, man, you can't blame Jalen Hurts. He played his hardest game. He scored about on every drive he had the football. He did. He did score about on every drive he had the football. That's right. Except for one. The one when he fumbled and the Chiefs returned it back for a touchdown.
Yeah.
Those drives, you can play so perfect, but that one mistake, especially in the playoff, could be the one that costs you the game. So, again, those turnovers by Goff. Goff went from looking like, man, he's the next big thing to, as we saw with Sam Darnold. Now we see with Jared Goff, those guys just I don't know, man, it just changed in the playoffs, man, for some God-given reason. And you're not guaranteed to always be there. You have to take advantage of these opportunities. You're at home against a team like Washington. You got to take advantage, man. You're not guaranteed to be in these positions again. You could go on another 20-year drought, never making the playoffs. Like, you can't. You got to take advantage of these situations. This stuff is not guaranteed. Look at New England. New England was at the top of the mountain for 20 straight years. And then now they're just hoping they can win 5 games. Like, you can't take these type of moments for granted. And I think Jared Goff squandered an opportunity. Throwing 1 touchdown, 3 interceptions. Lions had 4 interceptions overall. It was a bad game for them boys. It was a really bad game.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Washington outlions the Lions by going on fourth down on a lot of percentage of their
Yes, and
possession.
converting, and
And
converting.
yep.
Yep, more importantly, and converting them. So speaking of turnovers, the Rams versus Eagles, right? You know, lot of turnovers in there too. I think,
Well,
shoot, what was it? They said there was a stat out there. It was like all season long the Rams had, I can't remember the exact number. It was like X number of fumbles, and in this one game they had like, what was it, two or three?
yeah, they did. They were fumbling the ball left and right.
Yeah, it was bad. The Eagles defense is just turned into something crazy. And of course, on the offensive side, the addition of Saquon Barkley, it's been there all year, and it continues to be the case that he's playing phenomenal ball
He
this
different.
year.
He different right now.
Yes, he is awesome, man. He's playing really great. They're
What
not
and
really having to rely on the run or on the pass. They're just running the ball, bro.
what a bad decision by the Giants. But let's be honest, the Giants weren't gonna go anywhere with them. So uh,
No, they weren't.
you
It's
know,
better
like
for him.
just like when people like, man, Chicago's mad they didn't get Jay Daniels and things of that nature. And I'm like, let's be real, y'all wouldn't went nowhere with Jay Daniels because it's the
Well,
organization. It's the organization. No, I'm not. No, Jay Daniels, he would have been him. But the organization, man, people f things up when you don't have the right people in office. I think
yeah,
Atlanta's the
you know,
perfect
the
spot.
organization is bad, but I feel like Jaden would be more. I don't know. I guess I can't really say that. I don't really know. I mean, given Jaden, he's just made such an impression on me this year that he's just
He's
able
so
to
good.
work with whoever. Like it's very Brady, Pat Mahomes esque as far as
Yeah.
okay, give me whatever and I'll make it work. You know, give me the little white guy that Amendola. Give me little Edelman. Give me
Chris
who's some
Hogan.
lower Hogan who's some low level Mahomes guys. I mean Hardman, he's kind of turned into one of those guys.
Yeah.
Freaking Watson, the Justin
Watson.
Watson, like some random guys. Yeah, give me
Yeah.
him and I'll make it work. Like so,
Yeah.
I don't know. Part of me thinks Daniels definitely would have won more games than Caleb Williams. But yeah, like you said, the
He
organization
different.
does play a part. You know that the culture you got within your program, definitely plays a role. So yeah, Rams Eagles. When you have that good of a running game and your defense plays the way you do, it's a recipe for success. It really is. The defensive line is nasty. The defensive backs are nasty. They did have some injuries in that game, so that is going to be something to watch. What is this? Quinyon Mitchell, the rookie
Mhm.
corner. Yeah, he got hurt.
He did.
Some other folks got hurt. N'Kobe's out for right now. N'Kobe Dean, that is. But Nolan Smith's been playing his tail off. Jalen Carter's been playing his tail
Oh,
off. Yeah,
yeah.
like, whoo, God, it's fun watching, man. I love I
Jalen
love
Carter.
seeing some dogs in the NFL, having some success. Yeah, Jalen Carter picking up Stafford like he did with Jaden Daniels in the SEC
Yeah.
championship game. That was cool.
Nolan Smith played good in the game.
Nolan Smith he's been good,
Yeah.
and he's always, he was going to be one of those guys, and he ended up testing pretty well, in the combine. But of course, he's not going to be your A1 stud. Like as far as this dude's just a freak, he just like he knows where he's supposed to be. He's got a real good mind for the game, like he really does. And they're saying, I've heard people mention a couple times, within the Georgia, people that deal with Georgia that. One day he probably would be welcome back as a coach. Like, he
Wow.
could be one of those that comes back and coaches
I
college
see
ball
that.
one day. So, but yeah. So is that all you had on that game? Nothing crazy.
Yeah, nothing too crazy on that game. Yeah.
All right, take us into that last one. Ravens Bills, man. What a game.
Oh man, this is the one I love the most, boy. Let me tell you, a lot of people going into that game, a lot of people like were so against me, and me and Andrew was on the
Hey,
same.
you and I made
Yeah,
that pick on this one.
we
Bills.
did. Me and Andrew made the same. Me and you both did make the same pick as well. We both picked the Bills, and again, it's exactly went into what I thought was going to happen. I was said, okay, Lamar is not going to be as successful against this team, especially on the road, as he was against the Steelers. Well, now they got Derrick Henry. Now they got this. Your offense, the only offense in NFL history to have so many. I forgot. They threw for what?
4,000
3,000 yards,
passing, 2,000 rushing,
2,000
something like that.
rushing, something like that. Congrats! I
Yeah, hang the
know.
banner. Hang the banner.
Hang the banner. I know how this goes, bro. The NFL is so trendy to it's funny. It's like when you see, it's like the NFL been going through its same cycles throughout the year. You have your Joe Montanas, and then you have your Tom Brady's, then you have your Patrick Mahomes, and then you have the guys right underneath them. And then you see the same cycle, similar to the John Elway. Then you go to the Peyton Manning. Then now, in my opinion, is either between Josh Allen or Lamar Jackson as the new Elway or the new Peyton Manning, as the guy that just keeps getting close, but just never gonna get it done. And it's more Lamar Jackson than any of the than Josh Allen, because Lamar has all the MVPs. He's the best at this rate. He probably is the best regular season quarterback than anybody in the league. Yes,
he had a great year.
Every year, exactly. This year was phenomenal. He definitely deserved MVP in my opinion. But
he ended up gaining that.
Your third MVP. Think about this. You're potentially about to win your third MVP, and we're currently looking at a rookie that has went to just as many conference championships as you have. Now, granted, you're on the harder side. I do think the AFC is on the tougher side. But it's not like the NFC is no easier, because you still have the Eagles, you have the Lions. At the time, you have the 49ers. Washington.
Who did they play the first round? They played. All right, so they had theoretically they had a easier matchup in the first round, right? Steelers.
Yeah, Steelers.
Yeah, similar to kind of how Jaden Daniels had the Buccaneers. But I feel like a lot of people probably would they think that Buccaneers would be harder than the Steelers.
Yeah,
the way the season ended, and then. You can't just say it was an easier path, because, and I'm not saying you necessarily did, but going against the Lions this year, the highly touted Lions. Of course, we did know that the injuries were a factor, but the highly touted Lions, everybody was on the Lions. You got the doggone Coach and Applebee's commercials, and stuff like that. That this was like America's team. A lot of people really bought into the Lions this year. Everybody loved Dan Campbell. Jared Goff.
I thought it was going to the Super Bowl. Yeah,
if Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen didn't just put up superhero numbers this year, Jared Goff might be MVP, bro. Like, the way he's played this year, he was actually really, really good.
He was.
Everybody loves Sonic and Knuckles, David Montgomery and Jameer Gibbs. So, I mean, like, they went against a tough team as well. It's just, like you said, like, it is kind of crazy that this guy's first year in the league, given he is an older rookie, he was in college for a bit, has the exact amount of conference championship appearances as you. That's pretty crazy. So, what's it going to take for Lamar to get over the hump, man?
I don't know, man. That's going to be a really interesting thing to continue to see Lamar Jackson.
Because you can't blame play calling, right, this time? Or can you? I don't know.
I'm gonna blame a little bit of it. Okay. I'm gonna say this.
I'm not saying you're crazy.
We have watched 2 back-to-back playoff games from them. So we saw last year when they played the Chiefs at the AFC Championship game. They threw the ball 36 times, only had 10 design run, when they're the number 1 rushing team in the NFL in like the past 20 years. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
The number 1 rushing yardage team that you probably have ever seen. Then this year they step it up a notch. They get Derrick Henry.
Uh-huh.
Bro.
But what did Derrick Henry do the whole first half? How many yards did he have, bro?
8 rushes for 21 yards. Now, you could say that, the Buffalo Bills were stopping them. I'll agree with Shannon Sharp. Why are we stopping running the ball so early? Why are we getting pass happy? Because guess what? That interception, that fumble that they
but also that first touchdown. Touchdown. That was a pass. That first touchdown. That was a nice pass.
It was a really nice pass. It was.
Uh-huh.
But guess what? You don't get away from the run, because guess what? Now we're tied up. We have to slow this game down. Because in all honesty, let's go back and look at that real quick.
And to me, it wasn't just play calling, but it was decision making. That going for 2 early on, that to me ended up being a pretty question. I mean, obviously in hindsight, that was pretty questionable. Going for that early 2-point conversion. Why are you playing for the tie? Necessarily at that point in time. I don't know. That messed with me a little bit.
I'm not against this early in the third quarter.
But you don't need it right then. You don't need it right then.
It was late in the third quarter, so that's basically almost like the fourth quarter. So they scored with 1 minute and 37 seconds left.
And that brought it to what score? That brought it to what?
It was 20. It made it 21-19.
And so they went for 2 to tie.
And they went for 2 to tie. They didn't get it. Yes, it's 1 minute and 37 in the third. Essentially, that's the fourth quarter, in my eyes. That's essentially the fourth quarter, because you're only a minute out from the fourth quarter. So, and the way these drives are going in the game, Every possession mattered. Like
Yeah,
these
yeah.
are long drives, man. Like on both sides of the field, and it hurt the Bills because the Bills in the second half had two back-to-back punts, and the Ravens scored 10 straight points off it. So, well, not 10 straight, 9 straight because they kicked the field goal. So they went for 10. So they scored 9 straight points off that.
Mm-hmm.
I just felt like they got away from the run a little too fast, in my opinion. I think they should have
Mm-hmm.
kept running the football more in the first half. I think they got a little pass happy when things weren't going their way, which I think led to that fumble. Yes, it led to that because you had the interception, then you had the fumble,
Yeah. Yeah, it was a
and
bad fumble.
it was just bad,
Like
man.
the fumble by Lamar, or the fumble by
The fumble
Andrews.
by Lamar, the fumble by
Yeah.
Lamar.
He
Now
only
you go to the
attempted
second half.
25 passes.
I,
Only three more than Josh Allen.
I feel like this, and you only rushed. See, the stats are saying something a lot differently than what it really was, because
Mm-hmm.
Henry only had 8 rushes in the first half, and he
And
had
he just
eight,
wasn't effective with him, though.
but he had 8 rushes for. If you only had 21 yards, I'm doing crazy math real quick. Boop, boop, boop.
Less than three.
So he had 8 rushes for 63 yards in the second half.
He had 8 rushes for 63.
Yeah, in the second half, because he finished with 16 carries for
Okay.
for
Okay.
84 yards.
Okay. I get what you're saying now.
So if he finished with 84 yards, that means
Yeah.
what? He had
Yeah.
63. So that
Yeah.
means he was averaging 7.5 yards per carry in that second half.
Mm-hmm.
I'm continuing it because he was so. And you've watched Derrick Henry. I know you have.
Mm-hmm.
You know Derrick Henry likes to get hot. He likes to get going. If Derrick Henry is starting to get going, then what happens? Oh my gosh, things start to break open. You got
Mm-hmm.
to give the brother time to get going. And I think that's the problem that they didn't let happen. And that's my only flaw with Monken. When you get in these big games, man, I know Lamar who he is, but trust what you got. You got Derrick Henry because that's what all social media was talking about. Why are you not running Derrick Henry enough? Like, what are we
Yeah.
doing? This is what we brought him here for. We brought him
Yeah.
here to stand him on the sideline, run the sun gun. And when they ran it,
Mm-hmm.
what did we see, Tyler? That drive when they ran all the way down the field in 6 plays, and he was giving the ball nearly every play for a touchdown. Like, there's no way the Bills would have broke. But you didn't give the Bills a chance to break because you kept throwing the football. And I've
Mm-hmm.
been seeing a lot of things out here, and I'm going to ask you this question. Who do you blame this game on? All right? I already have my decision.
Who are my
Do you blame-
options? Give me your top three options, and I'll pick from there.
All right. Do you
I know
blame,
Andrews is going to be one.
yes, Mark Andrews. Do you blame Lamar Jackson or do you blame John Harbaugh?
Ultimately, and this is always going to be the right answer. And in my opinion, this is always going to be the right answer. Ultimately, all of this comes down to who is in charge. You know, that's what a real to me that's, and I know I'm going to get philosophical on you here with it, but a real leader takes extreme ownership over, you know, whatever it is that they partake in. You know, whatever it is that they embark on. You know, if something doesn't go wrong, you own up to it, and that's the right answer here. I don't know if you know, that's the politically correct answer, better yet, if you will, in this instance. That's probably what Harbaugh's going to tell you too. It comes down to me. You know, that's what Dan Campbell said the other day. This is, you know, this is my fault. You know, I made the mistakes. To me, that's going to be the answer. I'm not going to sit here and blame Mark Andrews. I know he fumbled it. I know he didn't catch the ball at the end, but people are prone to mistakes, man. He wasn't the only one that turned the ball over. You know, you had Lamar. Lamar had the fumble, and did he throw an interception or no?
He did. Yes,
He did. So I mean, he had 2 turnovers as well. So it's not like he was clean, you know, out of it. To me, if I had to rank them, it would be Harbaugh, then Lamar, then Andrews. That's how I would rank it.
All right. So
I feel like you're gonna put Lamar at the top.
Lamar is at the top.
Yeah, that's where I figured you were gonna go. I had
so
to get big brain on you there for a minute about my answer, though.
I would go Lamar, Harbaugh, then Andrews. I know a lot of people want to just look at how a game ends.
He's probably getting death threats
Yeah,
about this kind of crap. It's ridiculous.
ridiculous, bro. I tell people this all the time. I am big. I've been. Heck, you played sports. You've seen it. You've been a part of sports all your life, same as I. You understand? It ain't what happens on the last play. It happened. What happens throughout the entire game.
Yeah.
Throughout that
Just like
game.
hey, yeah, there at Mays. Did that fall on Solomon? You know, was that his fault?
Nope, it was not. It was not
Exactly.
Tyreek's fault.
It don't come. It
It's
ain't
the
that.
4th and 22 before that. It's the touchdown, the last play at the end of halftime that was given up by somebody we will not speak of. On that play, it was the pick six, great play by Natrez Patrick. I mean, he didn't make pick six, but the interception on the
he had an interception tip and then caught it. Yeah,
and caught it. There was a lot of plays that led up to. Like I feel like we were the better team. We just like
y'all were.
I just named like a 4th and 22. We started them on that. We win the game. Like we didn't get to the Hail Mary. They said what? So, but
people like to play the blame game a lot. People like to pin it on one person, one thing. When really, this is a team game. This is a team. This is a team sport. It don't fall on one person. It falls on the team, man.
Never have. And I just said if I had to give more blame to one side than the other, I would have to give it to Lamar because again, that fumble was bad. That pick didn't turn into anything. You want to know why? But
the fumble did suck. The
fumble gave up a touchdown. But the pick did make something. Because guess what? That negated your drive. People forget about field position. People forget about clock management. Okay? Imagine if I'm driving the ball down the field. Let's just say you had to punt the ball. Okay? I'm punting the ball. I could drop them on their 2-yard line. I could put them on their 10-yard line. Okay? That's forcing them having to drive 90 yards. Field position makes a difference. So don't forget about that when you speak on turnovers. And I think, again, having those 2 turnovers were huge.
So when Lamar fumbled that ball, remind me about what happened right after. Did they just fall on it, or did they scoop and score that thing? I can't remember.
Von Miller scooped it and took it all the way to like the 20-yard line.
Okay.
Like 20 or 15
yeah, so that was pretty bad.
And then they scored. Obviously they scored in like 2 or 3 plays later.
It was a touchdown, correct?
Yeah, touchdown.
Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, I know he did put him in a bad spot, but still the defense could have made a stop. You know, you can't. Like I said, everything doesn't fall on one person, but that does suck.
I mean, you can say that.
Short field does suck. I understand that.
Yeah,
I understand. I'm not trying, but I'm just trying to devil's advocate.
Like for instance, Georgia versus Notre Dame. Okay, Notre Dame.
End of the half.
One play.
In
the red zone. They only won one play in the red zone.
Yep.
One play.
You're correct.
One play happened from.
You're correct.
So it's like
you're correct.
You take that away.
But would you blame? But would you blame Gunner in that instance, or do you blame Bobo?
I blame Bobo.
You blame Bobo. Yeah.
No, he get me started. Right
Ultimately, that's why I say the leadership. That's why I always go with the head coach. Because at the end of the day, it all follows up the chain of command and who is responsible at the very top.
Yeah,
it's him. You know, he's the one that picked the offense coordinator. You know, even though the offense coordinator picked to make that play. You know, I don't know. That's why I always say, I know that's big brain. If you read books, I don't know how often you read for pleasure. One day you need to read the book Extreme Ownership. I swear to God, it's Navy SEALs, how they operate. At the end of the day, you own whatever it is that you're doing. You own it. You take ownership of whatever that happens. So I loved it. It was a great book, man. Yeah, I loved it. So, great game though. I enjoyed watching it. Unfortunate for the Ravens. Fortunate for the Bills. So, getting on to the conference championship weekend though. Let's make our picks real quick, man. Let's see what we got here. Where we're sitting. If we differ anywhere, I have a feeling we're not going to differ in one for sure. But
I'm about to say,
you already know the one I'm talking about. But we may differ in one of these. All right. So let's just go ahead and get the one that I think we could possibly differ on, and that's the Commanders going against the Eagles. The Eagles are 6.5-point favorites here. Who do you got in the NFC Championship game?
I got the Eagles. Okay, let me tell you something. The Eagles at this rate to me is one of those teams that are, I feel like, just really, really solid overall. Now I'm not with me on the Eagles. I'm not too overly confident overall on their offense, only because Jalen Hurts has not still shown me that he's a great. He
hasn't looked great this year. He's forgot about AJ Brown.
Yeah,
I don't know. Devontae Smith disappears at times. Like they don't use him. Is Goddard's hurt right now, ain't he?
I
think he might be.
I think so. No, he played last game. But
he played last game?
Okay. Yeah, he had 4 catches.
Now,
he was that leading receiver. When you got AJ Brown and Devontae Smith 4 catches.
AJ Brown's going to basket for a trade. If this keeps going. AJ Brown loves to complain and whine whenever he don't get the ball, so that's going to They're going to push him out of town at this rate.
They are going to
Now,
put out of town.
they played twice this season. The first game, Eagles won 26-18 in Philadelphia.
Mm-hmm.
Second game, if you recall, that was the game winner. It was where Jaden drove them down and they ended up scoring at the very end, 36-33. The Commanders won.
Context, Kenny Pickett was the main quarterback because...
Correct. Context does matter there. Context does matter. So, most important question, who you got?
I got the Eagles. Now, them covering, I definitely think when you play a team twice, I see this all the time between guys like, I can't tell you how many times I've seen Pittsburgh and Baltimore play each other in the regular season and the playoffs, throughout my whole life. The game in that playoff, you just definitively see most of the time who was the better team throughout the season. Because now there's no more covering things up. There's no more secret plays. There's no more. It's who better straight up.
You are who you are.
You are, exactly. Yep, that's all it is. There's not much that can change. Now, momentum is a real thing in sports, and I don't care who you are. That's the only thing that could negate me a little bit on my pick because the Commanders definitely have the momentum. And I definitely think they could definitely go into Philadelphia and showcase an incredible offensive game plan to be able to score on these boys.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the only thing because if Commanders can put up points, y'all might call me crazy. I don't think the Eagles is going to be able to continue to score with them.
Yeah. If this turns into a shootout, a boat race of sorts, Eagles don't have the offense for that.
They don't have the offense for it. Now, this is where I give the Eagles the chance to win the game. They're going to run that football, man. They're going to run that football. And they're going to keep the ball out of Jane Daniels' hand. They're going to say, hey, man, we're going to give you a few possessions. You better beat us with them. Similar how they tried to do the Super Bowl.
You're not just going to take the ball out of his hands, man. That man's going to be able to run with it. He can throw it.
You're right.
Mm-hmm.
That's why you don't give it to
him. One
him.
does not simply just take the ball out of his hands.
All you got to do is make sure you don't give it to him. Run the ball. 9-minute drive. 8-minute drive. 10-minute drive. Go ahead.
Yeah.
That's half of a quarter. Half of a quarter. You can do that. So I think that's how the Eagles win this football game.
So you have them covering that 6.5?
That's the hard part.
Yeah.
I'm going to say yes. I got them covering.
Man, I tell you, like my mind is telling me the Eagles, but my heart, you know where my heart's at. My heart's telling me Commanders. Mind is often more right than heart. You're right about the offense for Philadelphia. It's sketchy. It is hard to bet on them, man. It does not feel good. It feels dirty, having to rely on that offense. But the defense is something to behold. They're really good. Can the Commanders' defense make plays? I think there's a possibility they can. Will some of these injuries that the Philadelphia Eagles have picked up play a part in here? It could. There's just something, man. I'm leaning. I'm going to take the Commanders with the points. I'm going to take them with the points, and I think they can win it too. I think they can. I think it would be so awesome to see Jane Daniels make a Super Bowl. I think it would be so cool. So I'm definitely rooting for that. Like I definitely want the Commanders to win. That's what I'm going with. So yeah.
I would too.
Now
I would like to see a Commanders and a Chiefs Super Bowl. That would be pretty awesome.
It would be quite neat. All right, so Bills, Chiefs. Chiefs are 2-point favorites here in Kansas City. I feel like I already know who you're picking here. I feel like you already know who I'm picking here. You can't bet against the guy, right?
I picked for them the last 2 years. I can literally tell. I told people, you remember the year? What year was it? The Eagles year, I believe. When I said he's going to win MVP and he's going to win the Super Bowl. He did it. And I said, last year, well, the Chiefs don't look good last year. They're struggling. I said, y'all be fooled if you want to. I've seen this enough with Tom Brady, man. And I see type of players like him all the time. And not all the time, take it back. When you see something like this, you just know. And it's like, don't matter where they at, home on the road, until I am proven wrong, I'm picking against those Chiefs.
Yeah.
I can be absolutely wrong. They can get blown out at home. But let me tell you something. And y'all can call me crazy about this too. I don't think now the penalties things where everybody keeps saying to get all the calls.
Yeah, I saw that. I saw that from this past week.
The stats say the Chiefs actually is the least penalized team. Really, they don't get a lot of.
Shut your mouth. Shut your mouth, Caleb.
Oh my
Jane
God.
Daniels is no bum.
He's definitely not a bum, but
You shut it.
the Chiefs don't actually get a lot of calls. But I really want to know what really are the numbers. Because what are the calls when it's in the fourth quarter? Because when you go back and look at it, you always see the teams are actually leading in penalties over the Chiefs. But it's like, they might be, but they only get those calls at the end.
We're going to see.
And I actually think the Chiefs, personally, are, bro, I'm sorry. With a chance at a three-peat, which has never been done in NFL, you call me crazy. You think the NFL gonna let these people not be there? I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm just with a chance at it. They might not have to win it, but just a storyline just to keep it tricky.
Yeah.
There's just no way. I'm sorry. Like last year with the Taylor Swift stuff, I was like, oh, they played the MVP.
You already knew it.
I said, bro, there's just no way. There's no way with what Taylor Swift is generating, and they had never lost a game, and this is our first time ever watching football. And she brought that many.
Bringing in all them girls to watch football.
Right?
Yeah.
You think they're not going to have them in the Super Bowl? You got to be crazy.
Yeah.
Like, and I feel like with the storyline, with an opportunity at 3 straight Super Bowl wins, they at least going to put them there because this will be similar to Brady's undefeated season. You know, the undefeated. This is Mahomes having a chance at a three-peat. Is similar to Brady's undefeated season.
Yeah.
In my opinion. Where it's something.
What year was that? 08 or 07? Yeah, 07.
07.
Yeah.
07, 08, you know, depending on however you say it.
Yeah.
The Super Bowl was in 08, but yeah. Yes, this is Mahomes' three-peat is similar to Tom Brady's undefeated season. And this is that big moment where you got to put him in the Super Bowl to let them have a chance at history. And you could have the upset kid, Jay Daniels. You could have the upset person like Eli come in and do something, but we're having a chance to watch history. Now, Buffalo has a chance. Look, Buffalo definitely got a shot.
Yeah,
but I love watching the Bills and the Chiefs. Watching the Bills and the Chiefs reminds me a lot when I was growing up watching the Colts versus the Patriots, man. Watching Peyton Manning and Tom Brady go at it. That used to be some of my favorite games to watch. Watching the Bills and the Chiefs play, man. I feel like this is an annual game. Annual game in January. We already know they're going to play each other. Who's going to get it? And obviously, every time Mahomes has gotten it,
Mahomes
don't see anything changing up this time, especially defensively what the Chiefs got. The Chiefs got a great defense. Yeah,
I'm taking the Chiefs just because it's the smart play, but I'll tell you who I'm rooting for. I'm rooting for the Bills. I want to see the Bills get the upset if they can. I would love to see it, but I'm going to take the Chiefs. I mean, it would just be cool to see Josh Allen get over the hump, make it to a Super Bowl. I'd love to see it, but and this is by no means is this a Mahomes hate piece or something like that. It's just maybe it's kind of like when people get fatigued.
You get tired of greatness. Don't tell
fatigue.
Me you get tired of greatness.
Yeah, like it's that fatigue. Hey, it is. And you're seeing that. You're seeing that with people. It's just like like with MVPs and stuff. Like people get voter fatigue and stuff.
You had a lot of fatigue for LeBron James. I'm sure you did.
Man, there was fatigue out there. The man should have got more MVPs, my man. That's an argument for another day, though. That's an argument for another day. But no, I'm never gonna get fatigued for that guy.
Finals appearances.
I'd like seeing him, but it would be neat to see Josh Allen and the Bills make it. They just it would be cool to see. But so I would like to see it, but I don't think it's crazy to think that the Chiefs are going to win it. That feels like it's the obvious choice here. It feels like that's what's most likely going to happen. We agree on that one. So, you got to get going here?
Yeah.
4:38? All right, so all right, well, guys, that's going to do it for today. Thank you so much for tuning in. Appreciate you guys listening in and joining in the live stream. Appreciate you guys that are listening in on podcasts. You can find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, anywhere podcasts are located. We appreciate all the support you guys have given us so far in the year 2025, and we look forward to the rest of it. So, continue to like, share, subscribe, follow us, share, all that kind of stuff. And as always, we will see you next time.
Boom, boom.